Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Avalanche. Before we get into the TA, I'd just like to say thank you for watching the video. If you're enjoying that content, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already, and turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Also, leave us some feedback down below as to what you think's happening with AVAX. Do you think a bottom's in, or do you think we have lower prices? It'd be interesting to hear what you guys think. Okay, so let's get into the analysis now. So I'm going to go over these smaller scale moves here, and then we're going to be talking about some biggest, like the larger time frame stuff. So within this move here, there's a couple of ways we can count this, and we can technically count this as a 5-wave move, where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're actually looking to complete this 5th wave. It is possible that this 5th wave is actually completed, and the way that we would count it if we were looking for it to be completed would basically be a 1, 2, up in here for 3, 4, and then that is a 5th wave to the upside. So like I said, technically this could be completed, and it does look like we have potential of 5-wave movement to the downside, where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So that would be looking to, at a minimum, sort of do a zigzag, unless... No, I would assume a zigzag is going to take place here, where we're going to look for a lower price here. So it is possible, like I said, that we have a completed 5-wave move here. We can also argue that potentially maybe this is a 4th wave of a lesser degree here, but the thing is it gets quite big, so I don't really like looking at it like that, and I'd rather look at it as this is a 5-wave move as it is here. So if that's the case, what could we be looking for? So if we are looking to actually break down further, like I said, there's a couple of ways that we're going to be looking at this move, so stay tuned so you see them all. But within this option, effectively what we'd be looking for is a retracement down to this zone here. That would be a typical B wave retracement, and what we'd expect is to have a 3-wave move, so an ABC pattern down into this zone if we're going to look for progression to the upside. Losing this 1102 would actually make it become more likely that we're going to start to break down here, and we are still looking for some potential downside, so we're going to go over that towards the end of the video. But basically within this, we would be looking for this as a corrective structure in here, and then the potential to actually progress back to the upside. For instance, this all depends on how the waves form exactly, but we could argue that if we do have a corrective structure like this, and we're looking for this retracement into this zone, effectively what we could look to is potentially, if we come down to this 618 this area, we could look to push up towards this $14 range. So that could be an interesting little zone if we do get a deeper retracement within here. There is obviously always potential that we could look to extend for as long as we stay above this zone here of, let me get this on here, of this 1136. So as long as we're above that 1136, it's possible that we could actually look to extend to the upside still in further structure. So we're going to go over that shortly. If this is the case, what I'd be looking for here is the potential of a bigger zigzag pattern. And like I said, that $14 range would be a typical area that this could travel if we move down to the 0.618. We don't have enough information here to say that this is what's playing out, but it is a start with this 5-wave move. It's possible we could get a bigger 5-wave move down here, and then a 3-wave move to the upside, and an additional 5-wave move, which could look to bring us back down towards this fourth wave area, which lines up quite nicely with this 0.618. So that's what I'd be looking at within this option. So if I just toggle this over to the next one, we also need to be careful because what we can do in the same text, looking at this as a ABC rather, because this wave here, we can count it as an extension within this 3rd wave with a 4th wave that's quite deep, and then have this as a 5th, or we can just look at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 into here, where we've actually completed a 5-wave move. I don't really like that structure, but it is possible. And then basically what we'd be looking for is this as a connector wave or a B wave, and then looking for this as a C wave to the upside. So this as a C wave could technically have completed. So we'll have to just watch how this plays out, because this could be an ABC completed, and then technically we could be looking to progress back to the downside in another and break this low point. Until we break through this 1054 though, there is some other options, and like I said, as long as we hold this low point here, this 1136, we could still look to some further progression to the upside. So we're going to go over that next. If this is a ABC pattern here, we haven't quite reached the 1-to-1, and the 1-to-1 would actually be slightly higher. If I get onto this high point here, down into here, basically this 1-to-1 would actually be up here at this 1308. So should we have an additional wave in here that that hasn't played out, like for instance, if this fifth wave becomes a diagonal, which is a potential actually, looking at the current structure, we could potentially see this play out something like this, where we have a diagonal pattern here as an ending wave, so a 5 wave in the fifth wave here. And what we'd be then looking at potentially is this is an a 1, 2, then we'd look for a zigzag for 3, a zigzag for 4, and a zigzag for 5. If that is the case, then it could actually be that we look to push up a little bit higher here. So this option is basically available for both of them, but losing this low point here at this 1202 would basically invalidate it. If we move down past that area, then effectively we wouldn't be able to look at this as a potential diagonal in the end here. We'll be looking for a rising wedge. But if it fails to break below that point, then it is still possible we could see something like this play out, or there could be further extension here. It's just too early to tell at this point. It is possible, like I said, though, this can be completed here, and we could look to break down. If it is completed here, and we don't look to push up to that 1-to-1, what I would be looking for then is the potential to actually move to the downside. So this is looking at this purely as a corrective structure. Breaking back above this 1296 would invalidate what I'm showing here, unless we had, like I said, that diagonal pattern here to finish off that fifth wave. If this starts to progress much higher, then it becomes less likely that this is just a corrective structure, and the impulsive structure is probably more likely. Okay, so within this, what if we do start to break down from this high point, the zones of interest to me would be this 50% all the way down to this 786 zone. That could be a potential B wave area where we look to push up in an A, come back down for this B wave retracement, potentially test some of these lows or this little consolidation range here, and then look to push back to the upside. So if we had to move down to that 50% area that we have marked out there, effectively we could be looking for a higher move towards this 1435 zone. So this could effectively just become a bigger corrective structure where we have this as a B wave. This B wave can take any shape, so it depends what it is as to how deep we go. If it's a zigzag, we might look to target between that 50% to that 786 zone. If it's a flat or something like that, it could be that 382 to that 50%. It just depends on what the structure is. But looking at how this is starting, if this does start to break down, I'd be expecting either a bigger 5-wave move or potentially a zigzag down into these lows. And if that's the case, then that, like I said, that 50% to that 786 would be the target zone. However, if we come down to this 50% here, 1-to-1 would be this 1435. So that's what I'm looking at as the potential for some upside here. Though we need to see how these levels hold, because like I said, if we start to lose some of these low points here, then the structure starts to unravel and it could just actually be completed here and look to break down. So now if I come in here again and we go over the last option I wanted to talk about, there is a slightly more bullish option here, which we can look at. And if we're looking at this as all as a wave here, there is always the potential that this could become a bigger move. And what we would be looking for effectively for this to become validated is a move up past this 1475 range, and we wouldn't want to cross back below this 1136. Moving below this 1136 would actually invalidate this move, and we would then have to assume that either we are in this was just an ABC and we're going to start to break down, or this is an A wave, B wave, and then we look to push up in a C wave. So within this move though, what we'd be looking at here is the potential we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completed. Like I said, this fifth wave could potentially turn into a diagonal shape here, where we get this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 as a wedge, an ascending wedge here. However, it is also possible, like I said, it could be completed here. If this is the case, what we'd be looking for then, if we're looking for this extension, and this is obviously a more bullish count because we're looking to break out here, effectively what we'd be looking for is a retracement into this 1213 to this 1168, breaking down into this zone in a 3-wave structure. So like I said, the potential of an A, B, and a C could then set us up for a bigger push to the upside, though we would have to wait because if we have this ABC to the downside like this, it is also possible that we form another corrective structure to the upside in an ABC, and then we look to progress down, for instance, in a 5-wave move, and look to push lower down. So we need to see how this reacts. If it holds this zone and we start to move away in 5 waves, then it becomes more likely that we are looking at a bigger structure here. But if we fail to hold this zone, or we move away in a 3-wave move, then it becomes less likely that we are looking to do that. So I don't think this is what's playing out, but it is still a potential. So we're just keeping a track of it. So the idea of where these moves fit into the bigger picture is, if I come out here onto the, let's go into the 8 only. We're looking at a few options with this. We can look at this potentially as a 1, 2, 3, and now we're forming the 4th wave of a diagonal pattern. If this is the case, though, we'd want to see this 4th wave come up and cross this wave 1. So this wave 1 target is at 1442. So a move up into this 1442 area would bring this possibility into play, where we have a smaller diagonal here, where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and we're looking to break down for this 5th wave, and that 5th wave would break down in a B, and a C wave to the downside. So we don't have a target for this yet, because obviously we don't have the structure to work off of. We'd have to have that completed 4th wave, because then effectively, if this is what is playing out, what we could be looking for is the potential that if I get onto this high point here, down into this 3rd wave low, if we argue it comes up into that area there, crosses that wave 1. Does that cross it? Yeah, just okay. So if we did form something like this, the maximum length of this 5th wave could be was the 736. So if it goes past that, it's a different structure, and it's not a diagonal. So that if we were going to be banking on the fact that this is a diagonal, we wouldn't want this 5th wave to go past this 736. If we do, then it's actually likely that something else is playing out. And those options would be effectively, I'm going to 2 other ones which I'm just going to go through here. The fact that we could have a bigger 5-wave move here that isn't completed yet, where we look at this move from the top here as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Technically speaking, this could be completed here, and this could actually be starting this yellow 4th wave. The ideal target for this 3rd wave would be down here in this 872, but at the moment with the current structure, I'm not seeing how we could still be within this 3rd wave if it is playing out like this, unless we're about to get some extension here where this becomes a 1, 2, and then we look to break down 3, 4, 5 and cross this 872. So if we do break down past that 872 zone, we would have to see how exactly we do so. Crossing this high point of this 4th wave here at 1438 would invalidate the fact that this could be extending. It wouldn't, however, invalidate the fact that the 4th wave could be slightly over instead. But we would have wanted to see this as a simple 4th wave. That's why I'm putting it here as a completed move. Though we'll monitor the moves and see if there are any changes to the structure. So that would be a bigger move to the downside. And basically what we'd then be looking for, if we do move down to the zone, I'd be looking out for this 4th wave to come back probably into the same region that we are in now, and then look for that final sell-off even lower. If it did come back into these zones, effectively, this is all speculative at the moment. It depends exactly how the waves form, but we could look for 761 to 626 as a potential target area if this continues to break down. The alternative way of looking at this to those two is basically looking at a bigger diagonal pattern here. And if we do move higher here, in a 3-wave move, it is possible we could still actually be forming an even bigger diagonal, where we look at this as a 1, or basically as an A, B, and C into this low, and then we could still be looking for this as a wave 2. So there's a few options here. We need to give these things time to play out for more confirmation, but basically within this, what we would then be looking for is rejection, and then looking to continue in this diagonal shape with continuation of zigzags. So there is a few options here. We'll see how this goes, and we'll play it as the moves happen, sort of level by level, and then see how we get on in the bigger picture. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and leave us some feedback down below. Do you think this is going lower? Do you think that the bottom's already in and this is the start of a new move? What's your opinion? Okay, we'd love to hear from you. Hope everyone has a great day. Chat in the next video. Cheers.